Welcome back to the big weekend show. Very cozy in here. A little chilly outside here in New Hampshire. Thanks for being with us. So Nikki Haley turning up the heat as she stumps for votes before the New Hampshire primary. That includes a little bit of what you might call identity politics as she flashes the gender card a bit after DeSantis suspends his campaign. Watch this.
So there were 14 people in this race. There were a lot of fellas. All the fellas are out, except for this one. And this comes down to, what do you want? Do you want more of the same, or do you want something new? Do you want to go back to a country where they decide who's a good person, who's a bad person, who's the right person, who's the wrong person?
All right, the fellas, one standing still with her, the lady, and she's deployed this argument a bit in that feminine side as a weapon against some of the other GOP rivals in the past, like right here.
I wear heels. They're not for a fashion statement. They're for ammunition.
Oh, Haley's heels, not necessarily winning over some female voters. Politico underscoring her troubles connecting with certain female Republicans. All right, so Haley, let's start with you on this one. Is there a female problem that Nikki Haley has? I mean, I'm not really offended by her referring to the fellas. She does have this point of differentiation for herself. She's the one lady on the stage, and she's the last other person standing, right?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I have no problem with her using that point. And let's give Nikki Haley credit where credit is due. She is, in our party, in the Republican Party at least, the woman who's gotten furthest. I mean, she won a county in Iowa. Granted, did stand up to President Trump. President Trump blew it out of the water. But she has had, I would argue, the most successful campaign of any female who's tried to run. We've had Carly Fiorina, Michelle Bachmann. Nikki Haley has done something and struck a chord. Not enough to overcome President Trump, and particularly the poll that signals to me she's got trouble here in New Hampshire. The Suffolk poll, when you dig down, 93% of Trump voters say they're voting for Trump. They're not voting for him because of Nikki Haley, whereas Nikki Haley voters, only 52% say they're voting for her. There's a big animation of people voting against Trump. I'd rather be the candidate with people showing up voting for me.
There's a soundbite that I want to play. This was from earlier in the day, Sunday Morning Futures on the news channel. A couple pollsters discussing some of these dynamics. Let's watch.
I don't think she can break 35 right now. I mean, all the numbers we've seen and everything we've done just kind of give her a cap.
What about that, Mark? The Journal writes that she is having a South Carolina problem, and that's her home state.
She is. I think that's the Trump firewall. That is her biggest problem right now, because when you look at the overall party, 23 states have independents. Most Republican primary voters are in the suburbs, which is really her strength, and 49% are women. So if she really needs to get momentum out of New Hampshire, get within 20 in South Carolina, and have a campaign, and if neither of these things happen, Donald Trump's going to be the nominee come next week.
I mean, with all due respect, if they're talking about being within 20 in her home state, you know, as a goal, I mean, Charlie, that's tough sledding potentially ahead. It seems like maybe this state, New Hampshire, is tailor-made for her to make a splash, and then the rest of the narrative could change.
Yeah, but if she still does an impressive second place, you can't win by losing repeatedly. At some point, you have to start winning.
Especially in a two-person race.
Yeah,
I mean, second in a two-person race, it's not.
Exactly. Yeah, and Martha's exactly right. What she said a minute ago. You know, Nikki Haley's gotten kind of what she was asking for. But I think that this whole thing about doing the, you know, I am woman, hear me roar thing is a colossal misread of, like, Republican voters. They take, like, identity politics. They really don't like this stuff. And I get it. Some of it's sort of jokey and funny and whatever. And it doesn't really matter. But like she was wearing a sweater the other day that said "She who dares wins," and she really does sort of try to play it up as much as she can. But the part where I think it got sort of kind of gross was when back in Iowa she said. Talking about abortion, she said that the fellas, she was talking about the fellas don't know how to talk about abortion. The fellas shouldn't talk about abortion. It's like, what are you talking about? Men aren't supposed to talk about this vitally important issue to the Republican base? And I think it's a terrible misread. And by the way, the people who are enthusiastic about her, and I agree with you that she's accomplished a lot, but still, most of that is people that just don't like Trump. You know?
And Molly, how much is leaning into, like, I'm the one woman in the race, a smart play for her versus overplaying the card? A little bit of both there from Charlie, it sounds like.
You know, I think it's fair to go ahead and play it up a little bit. There are a lot of young girls, young women out there that want to see successful female candidates. So there is a contingent that just wants to acknowledge it and say, like you mentioned, Kayleigh, she's come this far, she's done this well. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. You mentioned the Politico headline. It's Republican women aren't feeling Nikki Haley. But at the same time, Republican men, she's been doing well with. Just over 70% of Haley's supporters are men. So we'll see how that ultimately turns out. The Republican Party on the abortion issue apparently has been losing some voters that have shifted towards independent. So ultimately see how those numbers shake out as we get closer to potentially a general election. But she's got to get there first.
Yep. And talking about that issue in a smart way is really important. And she, I think, did that, actually, in the first debate. So something to keep in mind as we move forward.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.